presenter. I love this title. We have Jeanne Elias. Cynophobic No More, or How I Lost My Fear of Dogs.
This is me, 1957, happy little kid, had a happy childhood. I'm about 3 years old, and I'm not afraid of dogs at this point in my life. Not yet. This is me about a year later. I'm still not afraid of dogs. And I know I'm not afraid of dogs because my first stuffed animal is a dog named Morgan. Not named after J.P. Morgan like my brother Bob thought, but out of the sound it made. It had this little squeaker and it went, Morgan! That's how I had my dog Morgan. This is Freddie, 1958. This was my grandparents' dog. And Freddie came to visit us when my grandparents took vacations to Europe, which they did fairly often. I loved Freddie, a little dachshund, and I wasn't afraid of Freddie. And Freddie, this isn't Freddie. I found this on the internet. But when Freddie came over to our house, we would put him in our bunk beds, and we would wrap blankets around him, and we would call him Grandma Moses, and we would scream with delight. And I loved Freddie. I wasn't afraid of Freddie. Things changed in 1967. I was waiting for the school bus, lunch bag in my hand, bologna sandwich, sorry I wasn't a vegetarian. Standing there minding my own business when out of nowhere comes a giant Irish setter aiming at my lunch. There was only one Irish setter. But still, my 7th grade self was so scared, so upset, I was crying, I didn't have a lunch, and that was it. Cynophobia hit. I was officially afraid of dogs at that point. So that's 1967. And this goes on another 10 years, and who knows whether it was coming or going. I'm now living in Tallahassee and attending Florida State University. I don't have a car, I just commute by bike. And I buy my groceries by bike. And yes, that is what my bike looked like when I had left the grocery store, and in the back, still not a vegetarian, right? There was probably steak, chicken, meat, or all kinds of things delicious to dogs. And a pack of wild dogs. This time there really was a pack. Comes after me, nipping at my heels. They tore my pants. They were just trying to get the food, but I was scared stiff. And so forget it. Cynophobia still. And for the next 20 years, I am officially afraid of dogs. Then something funny happens. I decide to write a novel. And the main character in the novel is this woman who's afraid of dogs. And she falls in love with another woman who has a dog. And then she falls in love with that woman's dog. And she decides to get a dog herself. This is me in 1997, 2 years after I started writing the book. I never finished the novel, by the way, but that's okay. And yes, you can see that's Cruella de Vil in that picture, and that's in the days when I had to use hairspray to get the two-tone effect. So 13 days after this picture happens, my life changes forever, and life starts to imitate art. This is Camper, the first Dalmatian I fell in love with after I fell in love with Camper's owner, Callan, now my wife, who I met at a birthday party in San Francisco, outside of San Francisco. This is me and Mustard, the second dog I fell in love with, on top of Burnt Rock here in Vermont, because Camper and Mustard lived with Callan in Vermont, and by March of 2000, so did I. Circus Peanuts. The dog and I both love it. This is Fuji. We lost Camper in 2001, and we rescued Fuji, the guy on the left. Dogs will make you laugh. We didn't know Mustard knew how to drive. And dogs will piss you off. We don't know which of these two chewed the leather gear shift on the car. This is Fuji. We call this levitation. Dogs will raise your spirits. Dogs will make your heart sing. And Dogs will inspire art. Fuji inspired my sister Suzanne and I to create Fuji. And Fuji is made out of snow and charcoal. Fuji didn't have a lot of spots, so my friends Beth and Jeff always used to tell us that Fuji was spot challenged, a spot challenged Dalmatian. I loved Fuji. And when we lost Fuji, my heart broke. It healed, but slowly. Like my sister Suzanne said, he was his own dog. Better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And this is Nickel. He's the one on the left, letting it all hang out. Named after the Canadian Victory Nickel from World War II. Nickel taught me that puppies are great joy, and that puppies are a lot of work. Nickel liked to travel. This is Nickel on his way back from seeing the 2018 eclipse in 2018 in Defiance, Missouri. We call this shot a toast to the traveling dog. Nickel's got a state list, 28 states. Pretty good for a dog, huh? And this is Nickel last year in Little Wild Horse Canyon. And Nickel, when he saw this trail, this is a real trail, put his foot down, put all four paws down and said, I'm not going anywhere. And we went with him back to the start of the trail. Nickel has a lot to say, and he has a very funny voice. And he asked me to say this. Jeannie is not afraid of dogs anymore because ever since she met Callan and Camper and Mustard and Fuji and me, she opened her heart to love, and that did the trick.